Hey guys, it's Kari from the Alfred Homestead, and today I just wanted to share with you guys what we were doing over the last few days. So we just finished up filling this ginormous bag with leaf mold that we can use for hopefully next year's potatoes. I'm not sure if it'll quite be ready. It doesn't need to be completely composted down, but as long as it's about 50% composted, that'll be perfect for the potatoes come next spring. Our soil is very heavy here, and we had a terrible harvest of potatoes last year or last spring. So I'm hoping that next spring will be much better outcome. So my husband's just tying that off the top, and we will go ahead and poke a bunch of holes in there just for aeration. You want to make sure you have plenty of airflow through this bag. So what we'll do is we'll take a pitchfork and we'll just go ahead and puncture holes all around the bag. And we'll fill up 2 bags. So we've got 2 massive tote bags full of leaf mold that will be perfect for potting soil next year. We also threw some in the compost ring. If you guys have not seen our video on how to make and why you should make the compost ring with the chickens, go ahead and check that video out. We have continued to add leaf mold to this because that stuff should be broken down pretty quickly, and it'll be ready in just a few weeks. Guys, I was so excited to see this on our fig tree. This fig tree is only 2 years old, and I already see some fruit trying to ripen up there. They're still too small to eat, but hopefully that means next year will be awesome for this fig tree. And then I just needed to go ahead and pop some rabbit manure down here on the fall crops. I don't know if these guys are even going to make it. This is the first time that I've had a fall garden, you guys. This was all from seed. These are Brussels sprouts, and I've got some daikon radishes there mixed in and some cabbages in the back. We'll see. But rabbit manure, in any case, that is the best manure ever. You can literally just use it right on your soil. It will not burn your plants, and it has more nitrogen than cow manure or horse manure or chicken manure or any of that. And you can just use it straight in the garden without worrying. So I am just going to top my rows off with some fresh rabbit manure just to help those guys along. I had a couple of beet plants that still needed to be transplanted. I don't know. I don't know how these guys are going to turn out, you guys. I'm being totally honest. I've never transplanted beets before. I have some other guys doing great in the garden, but so far they have not really begun to form their tubers. So I'm not really sure if those are going to make it this year, unfortunately. Once again, this is still a learning curve for us because this is only my second year gardening here at this property. So I did need to go ahead and harvest this green onion here. I have not harvested this for months now, and it's so huge. These green onion stalks are massive and thick and tough now that they're so big. So what I opted to do was go ahead and harvest all of this now, and then I'm going to dehydrate it and make it into a green powder, a green onion powder. So I went ahead and just chopped them off at the base. I didn't pull the whole plant up because the green onions here are a perennial. So they will overwinter here just fine in our area, and they'll spring up again next season. And once that was all said and done, this is what it looked like, completely beheaded. And that's fine. It'll just overwinter there. But I've got a massive basket full, and clearly the basket was not big enough for all these green onions, but that's okay. The girls helped carry these into the house for me, where I went ahead and pulled the dehydrator out again. All right, so the second time this week I've pulled the dehydrator out, and I'm just going to go ahead and dehydrate those overnight for about 12 hours. I just snipped them into 1 to 2 inch chunks so that they would dry out a little bit faster, but those will be good to go the following day. So this is the next day, and you can tell when something is fully dehydrated when it snaps. So these snapped perfectly. There were a couple of bits that were not completely dehydrated, and in that case, I just let the girls have those. It was only maybe 4 or 5 pieces out of all 5 trays of green onions. So 95% of them dried out perfectly. And I'm just going to shove as much as I can into this spice grinder or this coffee grinder, whatever you have. You could even put it in a food processor. It just probably wouldn't be as fine of a powder. But in any case, I'm using this I'm using this here because it's just easier to get it into a nice fine powder to use for baking or soups and that sort of thing. So again, I'm just shoving as much as I can in there and go ahead and whizzing that through the grinder for a few seconds. And you can see how lovely and green that is. It had a really interesting smell, actually. It smelled like matcha powder, and it looks like it too. But so this will be a nice little pantry addition for us this winter. All right, so next on my list, I needed to go ahead and make some more of my DIY calcium supplements. You guys, if you have eggshells, save your eggshells, or if your neighbor has eggs, save their eggshells. That makes wonderful calcium supplements, especially if they're organic, and ours are organic. I just save them up and I rinse them off with cold water, and I save enough that I have a full sheet pan to go in the oven. It comes out to about 2 dozen eggs that I've rinsed, and I will go ahead and bake those in the oven at about 220 degrees for about 20 minutes. And this is what it looks like when it's done. The calcium is totally usable, and this will be, again, like the green onions, will be blitzed through the coffee grinder to make into a fine powder. So I try and take this supplement every day, especially while I'm pregnant and or breastfeeding. Ladies, if you're not taking a calcium supplement, you really should. And I highly recommend you to just use eggshells. Use your organic eggshells for this. They're 95% calcium and it's bioavailable, so your body can utilize it beautifully. And you can buy this stuff online, of course, but why buy it if you can make it for free? So about once a month I have to do this, and all it took was about 2 dozen eggs for that. And it takes about a half a teaspoon a day to get 1,000 milligrams of calcium, and that's it. Super easy. This will last me, like I said, for at least a month, if not a little bit longer. And I just take this with some water with my meals. So super simple. All right, you guys, that was the last few days around here. I'll see you guys next time.